All right, well, hello everyone and happy Wednesday, happy October. As I've been saying all week, October is 100% my favorite month of the entire year. I woke up pretty early this morning, got on my bike and rode around the trail that's not too far from my apartment complex this morning, but it's just something in the air here in October. Hard to believe it is already October, that is for sure, but welcome in everyone to Before the Four, wherever you're watching Before the Four this afternoon, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or the 48 Now live stream. As always, thank you so much for watching and spending just a bit of your Wednesday afternoon here. Now first, let's talk about this government shutdown. Now at midnight this morning, the federal government officially shut down after failing to gather up the 60 needed votes in the Senate to fund the government, leaving both sides of the political aisle pointing fingers. NBC News has the latest.
The reality of a government shutdown rippling across the country today.
Just get your business done and get on with life.
Some of the nation's most iconic parks, monuments, and museums closed, leaving tourists disappointed.
I did not think that they would shut down the government, and yes, very disappointed.
But they did. Now Democrats and Republicans in full-on finger-pointing.
And they have taken the American people hostage in a way that they think benefits them politically.
We are on the brink of a healthcare crisis. And so that's what we're standing up for. And we are standing up for those American workers.
The standing rules of the Senate.
Senators again today failing to pass measures that would reopen the government. The main sticking point, healthcare. Democrats want to negotiate now to restore funds to Medicaid and extend subsidies for Obamacare. Those expire at the end of the year, and analysts say without them, premiums will skyrocket. Republicans say they want to negotiate that later. With both sides digging in, Americans are weighing in.
If they would just look out what's best for everybody and just get down to business.
For now, emergency services will continue to operate. But this shutdown does impact a large swath of the federal government. Late today, NBC News learning the Office of Management and Budget Director told House Republicans the administration will begin reduction in force plans in 1 to 2 days.
We're not targeting federal agencies based on politics. We're targeting the people's government so that as much as possible of the essential services can continue to function.
Many others, like TSA officers at airports, will work, but without pay. One tourist in the nation's capital stressing this.
Trump, please get it open before I go back to Dallas on Saturday.
But that wish is unlikely to be granted. Even if the Senate can come to an agreement on how to reopen the government, the House isn't scheduled to come back until next week. Monica Alba, NBC News, Washington.
And of course, 48's Faith Delp, along with Callie Neese, will be following up on the local impacts due to the shutdown here across the Tennessee Valley tonight. But now let's talk about that weather. As I said earlier, it feels great, especially this morning when I woke up. Definitely beginning to feel like fall, beginning to feel like October. Had an awesome bike ride this morning. I biked the entire trail, listened to my tunes in the headphones. There's just something in the air in the month of October. I can't really describe it. It just feels crisp in the air. I was definitely listening to a lot of folk music just because I have to listen to folk in the fall. That's just my go-to genre of music in the fall time. But let's turn over to 48 First Alert Chief Meteorologist for a look at what to expect for the rest of the week. Brad?
Hey, pretty quiet out there today. We have showers, but they're on the other side of the state today. And right now, no signs of shower activity in the eastern part, but it's still early. The weekend, it looks good, but it's still warmer than normal. The normal high is about 78 by Sunday this time of year. What we're going to watch here on the radar for the rest of the day is just a few spotty rogue showers. That's it. Temperatures just after 3 o'clock. The same exact thing as we had yesterday. 87 in the Shoals, 85 Huntsville, 86 Scottsboro. I don't see any real change tomorrow, although maybe a couple degrees cooler. This boundary that's coming in is not going to make a whole lot of noise as it moves in, that's for sure. 66 degrees at 4 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. We'll wake up somewhere around 63. 10-day forecast, I do have news for you. I wouldn't consider it breaking news. Something we're watching, rain chances picking up, deep tropical moisture coming in next week, and the cloud cover and the rain showers will push temperatures back to near normal. But if we don't get the rain, of course, we're going to be back around 85. But I still think we've got the best chance of rain we've had in a while coming up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it may stick around for much of next week. So stay tuned. We'll talk more about that over the coming days.
Looking great out there for sure, and that was First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis. Y'all, don't forget First Alert Weather Extra tonight at 9:30. Brad Travis will be back here in the streaming center. He'll have a look at the radar and all the latest developments as far as the weather goes here in North Alabama for the rest of this week. Feel free to leave a comment, any of your thoughts, questions, any concerns you might have. Brad will shout you out. He always has a great time with it. And again, you can watch that wherever you're watching Before the 4 this afternoon. But now we're going to head to break, but coming up, a fire danger advisory issued for the state of Alabama and a new law now in effect that could impact fire departments across the Tennessee Valley. It's all ahead. We'll go through it all in 1 minute. All right, break is over. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Before the 4. Now, a fire danger advisory was issued across the Yellowhammer State yesterday. 48's Will Eldridge has the latest.
Right, Liz, the AFC issues this fire danger advisory as a warning to everyone. They say that grass and falling leaves could easily catch fire. Unless the state receives some heavy rainfall soon, the AFC expects this advisory to stick around. With conditions as dry as they are, they warn that debris piles set on fire could continue to burn for days. Some local governments are outright banning burns right now due to the dry weather, including the city of Ardmore. Jason Dockery, the Northeast Regional Forester with AFC, says that fires are still allowed in most places, but it's best to avoid them to prevent fires from losing control.
As they burn to a pile of debris, you have an opportunity of, a fence or a deck catching on fire and eventually catching your home on fire. Or it could be your vehicles. It is dry enough as well. Pulling a car or a truck into tall grass, the exhaust system can catch the grasses on fire.
Dockery also warns that if the weather doesn't change, Alabama could move on to the next step, a fire alert, meaning that they could restrict the burn permits unless certain safety rules are met. Reporting in Gunnersville, Will Eldridge, 48, on your side.
Certainly good to keep in mind there, but now a couple new laws now in effect today on the 1st of October. Senate Bill 252 is in effect, helping keep independent pharmacies' doors open. But also one new Alabama law could impact fire departments here in North Alabama. 48 Sarah Grace Kennedy with more.
We're operating off the same funding that we did in 1996. And so what that means is, obviously inflation has affected us tremendously.
Right now, the average Lawrence County citizen pays $25 per household to support their local fire departments. That equals to about $26,000 a year for the Speak Fire Department. This new law will allow participating fire stations to have elected board directors. Those board members will be able to decide if that fire station needs to increase their fire fee an annual fee that members of the community pay into their property taxes. If the board sees a need for an increase, then they can pose that issue on a ballot for people to vote on.
It allows us to give our volunteers, one, the equipment that they need, and two, allows them to focus more on training and running calls for the citizens and serving the citizens versus worrying about trying to, do fundraisers weekly to try to keep the doors open.
Gunnar Walling, who is the chief for the Speak Volunteer Fire Station, says that a fire fee increase is needed now more than ever in Lawrence County. This comes a few months after the Speak Fire Department started a partnership with Lawrence County EMS after the Lawrence Medical Center shut down.
EMT, paramedic school, advanced EMT school cost a lot of money. And so having those extra funds to be able to send our volunteers to obtain that training would just increase the personnel that we have available to use the ambulance at moment's notice.
The Hatton and Cato Midway fire stations are also planning to form a fire district. They tell me with the hospital closed, they need more money to operate than in the past.
We've seen our budget just, continue to decline to the point that every year we start with a deficit, and really about 70% of our budget is funds raised by the volunteers.
It'll be left up to the citizens to hear what we have to offer and what they're willing to help us achieve.
State Representative Ernie Yarbrough helped sponsor this bill. Yarbrough tells me that this law will help participating volunteer fire departments receive the necessary financial support they need to support the community.
These are their own neighbors who are volunteering to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and then go to a regular job at 6 a.m. So this bill is a way to allow the local communities to vote on whether or not they want to provide financial support for their fire departments.
That was Sarah Grace Kennedy there in Lawrence County. But now let's turn over to the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscasts. Senator Tuberville on the government shutdown, social media safety in Colbert County. A meeting is being held for parents out there, 48's Aria Pons. We'll have more on that. And finally, a Florence native who is now on Team Niall on NBC's The Voice. And these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. And now it is time for Facebook fun. You all guessed it. We are going to use yesterday's question because it looked like you all had such super awesome comments even after we got done with Before the Four yesterday. Couple more comments from you all, so we are going to reuse this question that we asked yesterday. What is a skill you're proud to have mastered? And let's see what you all had to say. What is a skill you're proud to have mastered? Shane Kirby, he said speaking multiple languages. Now that is an awesome skill to have, especially being fluent in multiple different languages. But honestly, I took Spanish class in high school, took it in college, and I still know maybe 5 or 6 words in Spanish. That is a very hard skill to master, but Shane Kirby has done it. That is awesome. Thank you for commenting, Shane. Gracias. Let's see, Cheyenne said handstands. Now that was something I was never able to do, even at a very young age. Could never do a handstand, so that is very impressive there. Cheyenne, thank you so much. Adam said, I would say procrastination, but I always feel like its mastery is just a day away. Now that is written like a true procrastinator right there. Adam, I think you've already mastered it. That is awesome. Awesome comment there. Thank you, Adam. Niffy, she said letting go. Now, sometimes you just got to know when to let go. That is not an easy skill to master at all. No way. Niffy, thank you so much for commenting. And let's see. Deshaun, how to critically think. Now, I think that's a skill not enough people have mastered, but Deshaun says she has mastered that skill, the skill of critical thinking. That is awesome. Thank you for commenting, Deshaun, and everyone who left a comment on yesterday's Facebook question of the day. I greatly appreciate it. I love seeing y'all's comments. It always makes my day. But y'all, that's just about it for today's Before the Four. Thank you all for sticking around this Wednesday afternoon and tuning in to Before the Four. I hope you all enjoyed tonight's evening newscast. Have a great night tonight, and as always, thank you so much for watching. You all have a great night.